great games at your table. I haven't said that in a while. Hi, everybody. This is Jonathan Albin, the Game Master's Guide, and today we're going to be talking about holiday hijinks. We're going to talk about all things festive. I realize that there are of a wide variety of holidays at this time of year, so I'm not going to be specifically focusing on any one in particular because all of them have their merit and their value and their themes. And so, although this is going to be taking kind of a brighter side approach to the holiday, this could also be a great time for ghost stories and such. I'm reminded of, for example, A Christmas Carol. But, pardon me, we're going to be talking about all kinds of things about the holidays, so stick with us until the end. There's going to be some really fun stuff along the way. If you haven't yet, make sure you subscribe to the channel and click all the buttons down below. Just have a heyday punching buttons. It's always fun to punch buttons, and this will really help help us grow the show. And of course, if you have any comments of your own, we'd love to have you include them also in the chat if you're on YouTube, on Twitch with us, and of course in the comment section if we are on YouTube. Alrighty, let's get started, shall we? All right, so this time of the year, there are quite a few different holiday specials that are done. And of course, this is the season of parties as we're coming up on the end of the year. And so, for whatever reason that you gather together, the holiday special is intended to give you a way to increase your fun in this holiday season without increasing your load of work too much. For example, if you're already involved in role-playing games, you're already used to the routine of it all. But in this case, we want to really make the adventure kind of special, and it's particularly a great time to introduce people to the hobby that haven't played before. And as you know, that's what I'm really about, is getting more people playing games. And in particular, those game masters who are brand new to me, help you make your game sessions outstanding. So in today's opening salvo, we're going to talk about the concept of a holiday hijinks, a party or a event that will really stand out. And so the concept will be obviously holiday themed. It will be a light and casual event. This would not be the time I would plan for a TPK. That tends to be a downer this time of year. But make it a single shot. Make it something that's only going to take one session. Maybe include something that you haven't done before, like, for example, have a festive holiday soundtrack playing in the background, or there are plenty of sites now that can produce really magnificent medieval sounding music and can really make the event feel exciting and different. Generally, you'll want to focus less on the combat portion of the game, but instead develop some form of a puzzle and or a mystery, because those are also associated with this time of the year, whether it be fairy tales or a concept of miracles and such really play great in this time of year. And it can be as light or as dark as you want. If you've read A Christmas Carol, the ghosts are pretty terrifying in terms of what they represent and how they are portrayed. I've got a problem with the button there. I have to fix that. I'm not fast enough. Didn't get it done in time. So I'm going to kind of do this in reverse. When you're building an event, you want to work on particularly the main portion of the event, because that's what people came to participate with, and therefore they will associate it with the effort that you put into it. So this is an example of a possible story that you might want to entertain for your group. First of all, it's got to be in some season in your game world that approximates to the same kind of festivities that you want to portray. we all understand that there's the meta of the game where the players understand that it's a holiday thing, but you want it to also feel that way for the persona, the actual characters in the story, so that they can also appreciate and revel in what's going on. So make sure you set it up as some form of a holiday. Now, it happens in my world that the uh, primary godly force, if you will, within the world is named after a person who represented the message of the prisms into the world, and his name happened to be Prismus. So, of course, I get to talk about being Prismus Day, and it makes it fun because obviously people can tell where the allegory and alliteration might be coming from, but it doesn't make it so heavy-handed that it's that religion in particular. But this Christmas Day holiday does have the concepts of giving gifts and making speeches and inviting your friends for festivities and such. So the town itself, the community that the persona are from, has been raided and or robbed. There was some kind of an altercation just in the last few days. Even as we're approaching the time of the holidays, somebody callously takes something valuable from the adventuring group's city or town. And there's several different ways you could take that. You could make the adventure about how it isn't what you have, but how you interact with each other that matters. You could play it into a actual theft and counter heist where the adventurers actually, you have to travel to the other group to find out what plight they're in that caused them to be robbers. I mean, there's all kinds of ways you can go with this, but the idea is that the bandits initially escape, get away with the goods, and the player adventure then ensues, whether it's chasing them down, discovering where they came from. In the world of Nikos, for example, a lot of the adventures that I run tend to circle around the concept of lost time or missing time, and so therefore the players then pursue that storyline during the session. Generally, it involves some form of ancient mystery, whether it be miracle or no, whether it's historic fact or no. The idea is that there's something that's gone on that is bigger and deeper than what the players originally signed on to, and that the solution fundamentally requires some form of miracle or godly agency or some major event, because that is what is the in-game driver for the persona to want to solve it. And the solution's miracle can be as simple as returning daylight. That's a historically accurate portrayal of what the solstice represents, is that the days are now starting to get longer and that kind of thing. So the miracle doesn't even have to be a true miracle, it just has to be a representation so that the players feel the import and gravitas of that moment. And ultimately the players receive their reward, usually with a feast, usually with fanfare and recognition. And I happen to use this during my calendar year as the time that I reward my long-term players and such. So if you've been a Patreon supporter, you'll be receiving yours probably in a week or so. But the idea is I'm going to be sending out, and I usually send out my seasonal reminders and such in this time of year. So almost always it's with something that would be useful for your games at your tables. So just realize that when you do it with a reward, make sure the reward feels like a gift. You don't want it to be a standard. Okay, well you defeat the monster, so you get your payday. The end. That's not what you want it to feel like. You want it to feel like we've saved the Christmas holiday. We've saved the town from its losses. We've made new friends and such. And this little short, simple structure here is a absolute win-win. Even if you run the exact same adventure year over year, your players will have adjusted and changed, and some of them will even come to find that appealing, especially if it's a kind of a heartwarming story in the first place. So all of these things lead to your party itself being, a lot of fun. Oh, didn't get it finished, so let me make a quick change here. Ignore the bird, follow the river. All right. So you're going to want to consider also changing up the method for how you play. If you've been playing the same time in the same place week over week over week, at least consider some ideas of ways to get to be more familial, more uh, connected to your games group. And one of those ways is to play icebreaker games. Now, an icebreaker game doesn't really mean anything in particular. I know that you've probably hear that phrase and think of corporate events at work and go, oh no, I don't want to do any of that. But an icebreaker fundamentally is just something that's going to take the edge off of the uncertainty of the holiday and kind of give an idea of the feel of what's going on. So if it's going to be a mystery event, maybe you'll do some holiday trivia to get people thinking in that mood, or and that can be as simple as picking up. Even in mass stores, there'll be like card sets that have holiday Christmas reminders, holiday reminders, and such. Another thing you might want to consider doing is having I had a year that I did like an advent calendar. Now that doesn't play into the religiosity that I experienced, but it was something that was innovative and creative, and the players really enjoyed it. The fact that we had 12 weeks before, so we're talking clear back to October, we were doing events that were sort of related to the holiday, and the first person that got to the house got to be the one that opened the Advent gift, or whatever you want to equate it to. But the idea is that each week was a bit of a hint and a reminder. And in that year in particular, I was doing the adventure based on holiday songs. And so the idea was that each week was a riddle that was timed to give them a clue about what was going to be going on the actual Christmas event. And each piece only gave them just a snippet of part of the story. Now, I created all the questions myself in that case, but you could just as easily have made it absolutely pertinent to the game. So it's a matter of how you want to do it. Other ideas of icebreakers are simple little games that allow you to add a theme. For example, bananagrams or Scrabble, whichever of those you have. And if you haven't tried bananagrams, I highly recommend it. This is not a paid promotion because it's just off the top of my head one of my favorite games, and it's great for theming to holidays. Maybe one of the flex games. There's a new holiday flex, for example, this year. Again, really fast little game, and not a paid endorsement at all, but a product that I've loved for a really long time and fits perfectly into this environment. And the idea of the icebreaker, of course, is not really about its impact on the evening, but it's simply a way to make things a little bit lighter hearted. Most icebreakers are rapid play, so you're done in 5, 10, 15 minutes. But the idea is that you get a chance to get to know your players perhaps a little bit more than you have before. Beyond the icebreakers, you could have other games than your traditional. So, for example, if you are normally set in a fantasy setting, maybe this actually is happening in a sci-fi setting or a post-apocalyptic or whatever. You can style the adventure to the holiday rather than to the game that you normally play. And this is just a way to break it up and make it more exciting. And one of the real secrets is that make sure you leave lots of Easter eggs in the session, in the holiday game, that will actually be useful in your campaign as well. Maybe it's just a matter of information. Maybe it's a something, they quote, historical relic of the ancient times, or of the time of the adventure, could be hundreds or even thousands of years after the events of the adventure, so you could give clues that will help your players in the new year to get a feel for what's coming, and that kind of adds a gravitas to the game session to make it really memorable for them. Don't think I have any other pages of this setup. No, I don't. So let's go back to other things to mention in terms of a holiday special. Snacks are always, ubiquitous at every game session. So why not consider some Christmas cookies, maybe some fresh made fudge or something like that. And it doesn't have to be something you've made. Of course, you can store buy it, but the point here is that you want it to feel homey. I'd recommend maybe hot drinks like cocoa or cider, apple cider, hot toddies. Like, depending on how adult your crowd is, of course, you could use eggnog and other things that are specifically holiday related. I usually use the eggnog as the challenge event of the night, because many younger players have never had it and it's not in their family's background, so it gives them an opportunity to try something that's associated with the holidays, where it's safe enough if they don't like it, they don't have to keep it. It's just the idea of giving them the opportunity to experience something completely different that will make the event memorable. All in all, really what I'm talking about when I'm speaking of holiday events is I'm referring to the idea that what we do in the real world can and should have some impact on the game world, so that the connection between our personas and our real lives is made more tangible, more real. It's one of the reasons why I've referred to role-playing in the Nikos RPG system as becoming more. But that's for a topic for another day. I want to thank you for being here with us. We have accomplished the information that I wanted to get across. In particular, I hope you have a great holiday season. I know that I'll probably have 2 or 3 more videos that are themed somewhat on the holidays, simply because there's so much to be said about them. But the idea of holding a special event for holidays needs to be thought of well in advance. That's why I'm doing this, weeks before the actual holidays, so that you can put your thoughts together before you get there. And while I'm asking, what is it you do at your holiday events? Have you tried something like this in the past? What questions or challenges did you run into? I'd love to have a great conversation about this in our comments section. So do remember that we record Monday through Friday, Monday through Thursday, 10 a.m. and 11 p.m. Pacific time. And Fridays, I've got something really special. I don't know if we'll be able to do it this week, but in the next couple of weeks, I think it's going to knock your socks off. So I hope to hear from you if you have any comments on this subject, and make sure you share this information with others, because we want to build the channel and get the information out to more game masters about how to make their sessions super special and get more people playing games. I'm Jonathan Albin. This has been Nikos RPG's Holiday Special. Have a great night.